We live in the Pacific Northwest, and even though our winters are not harsh, they're long, very, very long. It's non-stop rain, then a little snow, then more rain, then snow, rain, snow, rain, 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 snow, and then rain. We start to get what's called cabin fever. The walls start closing in on us. We have a million things we need to do and we want to do outside, but the weather is just too muddy and sloppy and nasty to actually do them. Eventually, we do get 1 or 2 days where the sun comes out, a freak between the storms. That usually gives us what's called spring fever. Now, we also want to go out and plant things and do things. And so we have both cabin fever and spring fever, and it starts to really wear us down. Stop chewing with your mouth open.
I'm not chewing with my mouth open. Stop talking all the time.
Well, just try to chew quieter, please. I'm trying to talk here. Anyway, spring break is here. We are very thankful to have a few days off, but of course the weather forecast is for rain and snow. So we are going to head down to Central Oregon. I'm going to bring my camera. Hopefully we'll find some good adventure and some chances to take some photographs. So we'll see what we get into on this adventure. My daughter Sophie wanted to spend some quality time with Grandma, and Grandma lives along the way. So we decided to give her that opportunity and drop her off. So it's just the three of us making this short trip down to Central Oregon. We're trying to find some adventure and maybe some cool pictures to add to the portfolio. Okay, here we are. We are camping in Bend, Oregon for spring break. It's the first day of spring break, and we got a few inches of snow last night. Fortunately, my in-laws loaned me their trailer, so we stayed warm. So we've been trying to plan what we're going to do today. There's so many opportunities about this area. That's why we just headed down here, set up camp, and we'll see what we're going to do. Today we talked about it, and looking over the maps, I think we're going to do Crack in the Ground. We've been there before, but we'd like to go back and maybe fly the drone and take some photos. There's lots of opportunities. We were in a rush last time we were there, so maybe we'll have more time today. It's about an hour and 45-minute drive from here, so it's a little bit of a shot. It's not too bad. And then on the way back, I would like to go up and hit Devil's Garden lava beds. I've never been there. There's a cave up there called Derrick Cave too that's supposed to have a skylight. And skylights in a cave would make for an awesome photo. And then maybe we'll hit Fort Rock on the way back, but that's a full day's worth of travel and adventure. I think that's what we're going to do on the first day of our spring break trip.
There it is.
Okay, that's We finally arrived at Crack in the Ground, which is our first destination of today's adventures. This volcanic fissure is believed to have formed 7,000 to 12,000 years ago, when nearby lava fields were flowing. This is on the edge of a giant lava pool, and when one side drained its lava, the crust on top dipped and left this crack at the edge. As time passes, these cracks normally fill up the soil, but this area is arid and mostly rock. There has been very little soil in 7,000 years. A trail winds the length of the giant crack in the basalt. We were only here to do a portion of that hike. The deepest part is 70 feet, but the average depth is 30 feet.
It's flickering, just letting you know. Like extremely flickering.
Hey, when you guys get down there, I'm going to take a picture, okay?
Okay, tell me,
These are some weird rock formations. We let the dogs off leash. It's just too icy to try to hold them back. We know there's people ahead of us, so we don't know if they have dogs or not. Well, there's no tracks, but we don't know if they're dog people or not. They're very odd rocks. Looks like we're coming to the surface. If we walk back, I think we're done.
you gotta walk that way?
All right, so we just, we did a very short section of the crack in the ground. I forget how many miles it is. I will put it up on the screen here when I find out how many miles it actually is. But my impression was It was actually really, really more interesting than you would expect for just a crack in the ground. And being wintertime, obviously this wasn't our first time, but being wintertime had some unique challenges. What did you think, Sam?
It was terrifying.
Was it terrifying? What was terrifying?
The ice, it was pure ice.
So
and slippery.
if you come in the winter, be prepared for slippery things. If you are not sure-footed, then maybe this isn't the right season for you. How about you, Jeanette? Did you have any comments on what we went through?
Oh, it was fun. So beautiful. I bet it would be the perfect spot on a hot day because it'd stay nice and cool down there.
I agree.
It was just beautiful.
Great. Well, let's head back. Maybe we'll go get some lunch.
Sounds good.
After having some snacks, we set off on the back roads to find Derrick Cave, the next stop on our adventure.
Well, darn it.
Guess that won't work.
Well, I guess our path to the cave is not as open as we thought. So I'm gonna check the maps and see if there's another way around. There's Fort Rock right there. But we're actually on a mission to find Derrick Cave. And we've been there before, so I think we're gonna skip it this time. But it feels so weird because it's right there. I wanna hop in and take a look. Okay, the snow has gotten too deep. Our route to the cave is just not the right time of season. That's a risk you take when you're doing, it's spring break, but it's still winter in Oregon. So I'm gonna turn around. I don't want to risk getting stuck way out here, no cell service and no good recovery system in place. So I'm not gonna risk it. I'm gonna turn around. Okay, so we made it to Crack in the Ground. We tried really hard to make it to Derrick Cave, but we were turned around twice. We'll have to try that another time. We decided to pull over and make some dinner. And we found this abandoned old Forest Service station called Cabin Lake Forestry Center. Looks like it hasn't been used in many, many years. And we're going to try and get some good pictures from there. Swing maybe.
We finally decided to call it a day and head back to camp. We did so just in time as a snow squall pounded us on the drive home. Okay, this is the part where I like to review the day's adventures and see what sort of pictures that I was able to take that are worth sharing. This is the first one. It's just an adventure shot. Nothing special about it. Midday, so the lighting's not golden, but I did add some tilt shift, which is some lens blur on the edges, and some darkness on the top to just give it a more dramatic feel. Okay, this photo is actually very similar to the first one, midday shot, nothing special with lighting or anything, but a trick that I like to do is give it a tilt shift, which is add a lens blur to the edges. And what that does is it makes the subject look tiny and small by giving it that feel of bigger than life, and my goal was to make the canyon look large or tall. So adding the blur to the edges is how I attempted to do that on this shot. Sometimes I like to shoot in black and white. This was just a striking image. It was very hard to make a good picture on a gray day with very up and down stark lighting. So black and white is a good way to try to make something out of nothing. That's what I did in this one, and adding a border, of course, just makes it look more finished. Okay, this one I was actually very happy with. I had to punch up the colors a little bit and work with the contrast between the ground and the sky, but the sun came out at one moment and the clouds were striking, and I was just lucky to be at the right place at the right time. And I just shot this from a squatting position. I just kind of took a shot, and then a lot of work was done in post-processing to bring out the colors. But I was very happy with how this one turned out. It was, again, being at the right place at the right time. Okay, this one of the rail fence, it's not too special. It's just a man-made object in nature is the subject. I, again, went to black and white because it was a gray day and not very exciting lighting. But going to black and white and adding the border or edging gave it a finished feel. Again, nothing special about this one, but it's not terrible either. As you can see, another black and white. It was not awesome weather. I did like the sunlight in the sky. It was kind of like God preaching from above there. The old abandoned building is the subject, and the light came through. Again, black and white with a border for the same reasons as before. It was just struggling to come up with good lighting on this particular afternoon. Okay, this final picture here is black and white and bordered for all the same reasons as before. The subject, though, was very interesting. These old homes and these buildings were out in the middle of the desert. Well, kind of where the desert turned into trees. It was a small stand of trees. It was actually a Forest Service workstation at one point, but the windows were broken out, and there were tattered curtains inside and no furniture, and it was kind of a lonely, deserted compound there. And because it's the desert, there was not a whole lot of deterioration of the buildings, even though you could see that something big was happening there at one time, but not anymore. And I looked for a good way to capture it, and black and white was the best way. So that did help that, but this was not going to be at the front page of my portfolio. And that's really all I had for this day. Now, there were more days on our trip, and we'll see how those turn out. Thank you for tuning in to this one, and stay tuned for the next. Tomorrow's a new day.